right now, let's do the daily debate. Here is the question for today. Considering all the variables, potential sponsors, potential viewers, potential purses, etc., which U.S.-based promotion seems the best for a young prospect to sign with? Bellator, PFL, UFC. Again, guys, consider all the variables, sponsors, viewers, purses. Which U.S.-based promotion seems to be the best fit, I would say, for a young prospect to sign with? You want to start off, guys?
Sure. I am not going to come into the UFC and cut my teeth there. I'm going to have to put up with a lot of shit before I start to actually make money. As long as I have the confidence in my career that I can keep winning, I'm going to go into the PFL and make a quick million. And then from there, I'm going to be a free agent and I'm going to say, everyone else, choose. But I'm going to do my job, and that is just winning. And if I'm going to do that, if I can put together 4 straight wins in the UFC, why don't I just put 4 straight together in PFL and win $1 million? Then go to the UFC, where I'm even more marketable now. I would start with the PFL.
Dan, Tom?
I agree with Goes in the UFC. You know, you don't want to learn lessons and cut your teeth there. Key word here, young fighters. But it's funny. I would even put that same description toward Bellator, where I feel like, you know, they're using a lot of local draws and even some notable names you'll see in the prelims, but they get, even at Bellator they get a little bit buried there. So unless you're one of the people that they're trying to promote and really foster, unless you're one of those select few, then maybe not even Bellator. I would say PFL, similar to the reasons as Goes, but more importantly, we're seeing a lot of upsets by the odds, right? So we're seeing a lot of guys kind of crossing on the timelines in that even kind of cross-category field that Bellator kind of initially had with their tournament structure, where, you know, you're taking the politics out of it, so it allows these younger fighters to actually score big scalps on their wall, possibly get a big payday, and again, it's at a nice kind of high stakes for money, but lesser stakes as in you're not in the UFC, you're not damaging your chances of getting there or ruining, you know, your record to a certain extent.
Man, you guys nailed it, honestly. PFL probably would be it for me. But as I'm saying that, I also remember the Contender Series, and Sean O'Malley came through there, undefeated fighter, won the Contender Series, and was already starting to become a star. And now, of course, he's had a couple wins in the UFC, and he seems to be like somebody the UFC's shoving their chips behind. So there is something to be said for that. But do you put time into your own career to market yourself? Because if you do and you're good at it, you know, and you have a shtick or a look, then I think the UFC is very, very tough to top.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you said it, 4 fights in a row, 5 fights in a row, or whatever it is to get through a season, and you could possibly be making $1 million to reinvest in yourself. You know, coaches and more, learning more techniques, better training partners. So I think PFL just makes the most sense, but there are going to be people like Sean O'Malley that can break that trend and do it through the UFC. PFL, I just think about Ed Ruth and MVP, and it's great that they're protecting them a little bit, but like Ed Ruth, he was still a prelim guy, you know, and then all of a sudden now he's in a Grand Prix. I feel like
Sharks.
In MMA, it's just a steeper curve. In boxing, it's like, well, he's 20-0, let's give him 5 more, you know, and then all of a sudden he's 25-0. Now the big fights come. In MMA, man, you win 3-4 in a row, and if you got skills, if you're coming out of a wrestling program like Penn State, you're already kind of the man. You just need to sharpen up a few other things and get in there and do it. I think the jury's out on Bellator to see if that's going to work. Scott Coker's made it work before for Strikeforce, but he hasn't done it with Bellator. So I think PFL, guys, is probably just makes the most sense. Now, the audience didn't agree. 1,558 votes came in. 49% said Bellator. 43% said the UFC. 8% said PFL. That's bizarre to me.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know. I mean, the sponsor thing, all right, cool. But again, if you can market yourself, you see Sean O'Malley's got his own strain of pot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in PFL, you can get this as well. You can have, I don't know. What could it have been? That's what I'm thinking. Maybe I know they pay well, but they don't pay well to the ones just starting out. If you're a coveted free agent, Bellator pays very well. All right, but that's our daily debate for today, brought to you by the MMA Junkie Radio team.